Hey guys, this is Candle, and boy, do we have a lot of games to get through today. Yeah, today we're taking a look at my PS3 and PS4 collections. Now, my PS3 is not an original launch PS3, so I can't play PS2 games on it. Unfortunately, I have to use my PS2 to play them. But it is one of the later revisions of that original fat model. And then my PS4, I actually have a launch PS4, which you can just barely see up there, along with my PS3 box and my PS4 Pro. So anyways, get things started today. Why don't we talk about... Actually, you know what? Let's talk about... Well, nah, we'll wait for those. All right, we'll talk about these ones first. Okay, so I have pretty much the entire line of this franchise on PS3. I think there's maybe only a couple games I'm missing, and I think they're really just collections, like multiple games in one version, because I have Assassin's Creed, I have Assassin's Creed 2. Now, both of these I did not originally have for PS3. I originally had them for 360, but it was with this game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, that I jumped over to the PS3 because this had exclusive content as well for the PS3, and it's kind of been a PlayStation franchise for me ever since. But actually, what I have for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is I have the big ass collector's edition of it with the Jack in the Box on it, and this is the Dr. Jack in the Box. There were different versions with different characters and so on. I want to say there was a woman one, oh god, I can't even remember what they all were, but there were like 4 or 5 of these different ones with different Jack in the Boxes. So if you're gonna start collecting these, you're gonna be looking for a while, because there's 4 different versions. Not to mention, this collector's edition also came out on 360 as well. But my Assassin's Creed collection does not end there, because I also have Assassin's Creed Revelations, which was the last special edition of the Assassin's Creed games I really bought, because, you know, they didn't really have big anymore. Wait a second, hold on. The original Assassin's Creed on what? The hell? Huh. Apparently this includes the original Assassin's Creed as well. I did not even realize that on the disc. I had no clue about that. It's a PS3 exclusive thing, so I had no idea that that was even in there, and I got this brand new when it first came out. I also have Assassin's Creed 3. Now, part of the reason why I stayed with the PlayStation for these is because they kept putting out exclusive missions for exclusive content for the PlayStation versions versus the Xbox 360. So then I also have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and this is not the original copy I used to have. This is actually specifically the GameStop edition, but I picked this up used because when I first got this, I had it for PS4, and I wanted to get the entire collection on the PS3 as well. And finishing things off, I also have Assassin's Creed Rogue, which launched day and date with Assassin's Creed Unity. This was the last gen Assassin's Creed game that came out, but it was still pretty good. Anyways, that is my Assassin's Creed collection. I also have Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which is from the minds of R.A. Salvatore, Todd McFarlane, and Ken Rolstein. I don't really know who Ken Rolstein is, but Todd McFarlane is the guy behind like the Spawn comics, I believe. So I think he was involved with the art of this game. And then R.A. Salvatore, or Salvatore, however you want to say that, is a big name in fantasy books, specifically the Forgotten Realms franchise of D&D books and so on. And he ended up writing like 10,000 years of history for this world. And unfortunately, this went under. There was a big snafu, and I don't even know if you can get this on a digital platform anymore. They may have ended up pulling it. But I want to say this was the center of some kind of lawsuit or something as well. But yeah. I also have... There we go. I also have the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix Collection, which includes Kingdom Hearts Final Mix for the first time in North America, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, and Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, all in HD, but 358 over 2 days is actually a movie, a cinematic, rather than a playable game. And then I also have the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix, which does the same thing with the other big Kingdom Hearts games at the time. You got Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Birth by Sleep Final Mix, and Recoded, which again is a movie rather than an actual playable game. Let's see. I also have the only Castlevania game I've ever beaten, though not on this platform. I ended up playing it last year on PC, but I have Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and then I just recently started the sequel, Lords of Shadow 2, which I'm really excited for because you actually get to play as Dracula, and I really like vampires. So I was never too much into the older Castlevania games, but I really did enjoy Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Played a lot like the earlier God of War games as well. Let's see. I also have Infamous and Infamous 2. And there was actually an Infamous collection as well, which included Infamous 1, Infamous 2, and the standalone, the expandalone for Infamous 2, which was otherwise available digital only, Infamous Festival of Blood, which was kind of a vampire Halloween type themed thing, which I really enjoyed that as well. But I don't have a physical copy of that, so it's just physical stuff here. Oh, what else? What else? Oh, does anybody remember this game? Mag for the PS3. Otherwise known, it was originally pegged as Massive Action Game. That's where the title came from. Yeah, multiplayer online only. So unfortunately, you can't play this anymore because the servers have been dead for like 5-10 years. Well, not 10 years. This game only came out in 2010. So the servers have been down for like over 5 years now. And but does anybody really remember this game? Because I remember spending a lot of time with it. And it was really notable at the time because even Battlefield only went up to 64 players in a map at the time. And this had all the way up to 256 players on a single map in a first-person shooter. Where you had, you had 4 different companies of 64 players each duking it out all together on one map. That was really interesting and novel at the time. Oh, let's see, what else? Ooh, I also have Brutal Legend. Excellent game from Tim Schafer and the folks at Double Fine, starring Jack Black. A lot of this is pretty much a love song to the metal genre of music. Not quite what people were thinking though. They were expecting more of an action adventure game, and it turns out this is really more of a hybrid action adventure with real time strategy. Still really good game to check out if you ever want to. There we go. So I've talked about previously my love of Tales games, and unfortunately, I kind of fell out of playing them a lot after Tales of Vesperia came out. So I only have one Tales game on the PS3, and that is Tales of Xillia. At some point, I'll get the rest of them, because I know this had a direct sequel as well, Tales of Xillia 2. There were 2 versions of Tales of Graces, and there were a few others as well, including a special edition of Tales of Symphonia. So eventually I'll get more Tales games, though. This one actually came out for the 15th anniversary for Tales, the Tales franchise, too. There we go. The only Tomb Raider game I have for PS3 is Tomb Raider Underworld, and I picked this up before playing Legend. I knew it was part of the same series, but I was eventually going to get them on PS3, and I didn't know at the time that Tomb Raider Legend and Tomb Raider Anniversary were not available on the PS3 at the time. They are now. There's a Tomb Raider Trilogy collection, which includes those 2 plus Underworld, and I actually ended up let's playing this version of the game before switching over to 360 for the DLC, because the other odd thing about this was this game had 2 DLC packs, but they were only exclusive to the 360. But still pretty good. This was the game they did right before rebooting it again for the 2013 release, which I believe is also available on PS3, but I don't have that, unfortunately. There we go. May as well talk about the David Cage games. I have Heavy Rain, and I also have Beyond Two Souls, and this is the not quite special edition. This is the not the standard edition either, I don't think, because this comes in a steel book as well, which is really nice. Yeah, special. Okay, this was the special edition, because there's a special edition voucher in here for the following downloadable content: Advanced Experiments, a dynamic PS3 theme, a PSN avatar pack, soundtrack, so on. So yeah, I still really enjoyed these. At some point, I'm going to do a Let's Play of these, and I'll probably hold out till the end of the year, because they're coming to PC now via the Epic Game Store. I don't like the fact that they're exclusive to the Epic Game Store, but I still will do these at some point. I'm wondering how they're going to do it, because these games were really dependent on motion controls through the PS3 6-axis controller. So I'm wondering if they're still going to expect you to play with a controller versus keyboard and mouse, or what. But apparently these, along with Detroit Become Human, are coming to PC as well. Oh, it's okay. We got the Ico and the Shadow of the Colossus collection. Really good way to play both of these games, especially if you want to play them in HD, because otherwise your only option for Ico is on PS2. Not the best version of Shadow of the Colossus though. I would say the PS4 remake is better, but still it's good to have that on PS3. And they did this a lot, especially on the PS3. There were some as well on the 360, but a lot of these HD remaster collections really came out this way, and I really like that they did that. You know, really breathed new life into these games. So I talked about in the last video, I talked about Star Ocean 3. This is actually Star Ocean 4. Specifically, this is the international version on the PS3, because this game originally launched on the 360. And you saw this happen with a lot of JRPGs on the 360, where they would come out there, they wouldn't do too well in Japan, so the companies that made them would port them over to the PS3 and add in a whole bunch of extra content as well. And occasionally those versions would make it over to the West as well. Unfortunately, the Tales of Vesperia version did not make it over until recently with the definitive edition on PS4 and Xbox One, but I still need to give this a try at some point. I just picked this up recently, so let's see. We got Anarchy Reigns. I really don't know too much about this game. This was something else I picked up because of Scottish Duck 17 on YouTube, and it features the main character from Mad World on the Wii as well. I don't know if it says multiplayer mayhem. I don't know, and fight to the death. I don't know if this is a straight up fighting game or some kind of brawler or what, but it's from Platinum Games, so I really need to give this a try at some point. It's got a single player mode at least. All right, I also have Alice Madness Returns. This is the sequel to American McGee's Alice, which is a really twisted retelling of the Alice in Wonderland stories. And the reason why I wanted to get the PS3 version of this specifically was because it came with a voucher for a downloadable copy of the original American McGee's Alice, which up to this point had been exclusive to PC. So I ended up playing through that and played through Madness Returns, and I really enjoyed both of them. Maybe I'll do a Let's Play of them at some point. Does anybody remember this game? Enslaved Journey to the West, or Odyssey to the West. This is based on it's kind of like a futuristic retelling of the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. And this is from Ninja Theory. So these are the same people that had put out Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, which I'm currently doing a Let's Play of. I gotta do a Let's Play of this at some point too. It's really, really interesting. Also has Andy Serkis in it. So, let's see. There we go. So I talked about this franchise a little bit in my PC video, because, but I also have Dishonored for the PS3. And I played it on here. I really enjoyed it, but I never got around to playing the DLC on here until Dishonored 2 was getting close to coming out, and I wanted to be ready for that, so I ended up picking up the Game of the Year edition on Steam and ended up playing through the DLC that way. Really, really good game. If you've played the Thief games, it's kind of similar to that in a lot of respects. You know, this is kind of like a hybrid between Thief and BioShock with its art style and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun as well. Definitely give it a shot. Let's see. There we go. I also have Devil May Cry 4. And the biggest reason why I picked up this copy was I recently played it on the PS4, but there's no physical copy in the West for the PS4. And I wanted to add this to my collection before Devil May Cry 5 came out. Actually, I picked this up the same day Devil May Cry 5 came out. I went over to Best Buy, got Devil May Cry 5. Then I just happened to go into GameStop, browse around a bit, and saw this and ended up snagging it. Quite a good game. Not necessarily the best Devil May Cry game, but actually what I consider to be the best Devil May Cry game is, well, no, I'd say this is the second best now. I'd say 5 is probably the best, but I really did enjoy the reboot. And a lot of people didn't really care for it too much. They were all screaming like, hashtag not my Dante, because he has black hair instead of white. But guys, a little bit of a spoiler for you. Dante has white hair at the end. This is like an origin story, even more so than Devil May Cry 3 was, and it could almost fit within the main canon, except for the fact that the big baddie in here is Mundus, which was the bad guy from Devil May Cry 1. So that's really my only gripe with it, is that it really is kind of a retelling of Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 1 at the same time. There are some different plot elements though. Definitely worth giving a shot though. Let's see, what else do I have? There we go. So we have remastered in high definition, the Sly collection. This is Sly 1, 2, and 3, ported to the PS3 in HD. And they actually are 3D compatible. Something I forgot to mention in my PS2 video was Sly 3 actually came with 3D glasses, like the whole classic red and blue, and it had certain levels that you could do with that. So they turned that into the whole stereoscopic 3D thing when they were trying to push 3D TVs. But I also have Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, and this is the whole cross-buy thing where it includes a voucher for downloadable copy on the PS Vita, which I don't think I ever used, even though I have a Vita now. Actually... Oh, no, that must be on the disc then. I was going to say there's no voucher in here. I know I got this brand new. But yeah, that must be on the disc. Like you download it from the disc onto your Vita if you connect it to your PS3. So I've done Let's Plays of these games. You guys should already know my thoughts on them. Good games. All right. There we go. All right, so I love Sonic the Hedgehog. It's one of the franchises I grew up with as a kid. Played a lot. Unfortunately, Sonic 06, not great. I think this may actually... I'm not sure if this is the better or worse than the 360 version, but this is the version I have because I had already picked up Sonic Generations for the PS3 as well, which is a good mix of classic Sonic with modern Sonic. But of course, modern Sonic was perfected in Sonic Unleashed. Now, the Werehog levels I don't think are really all that great, which is kind of general consensus, but the actual Sonic levels are really amazing. So there we go, Sonic on the PS3. There we go. Why not? So I picked up Portal 3 on the PS3 back when this first came out, even though Portal 1 I had and had played on the PC. But the reason why I got the PS3 version is because Valve was really trying to push cross-platform compatibility with PlayStation at the time. And in fact, the PS3 version of Portal 2 included a voucher that it had a Steam key on it, so you could download and play the game on Steam as well. So this copy of Portal 2 did not see the inside of my PS3 for quite a while, because I did a Let's Play of this game when it first came out, but I did it on PC using that Steam key. I did eventually go back and play the co-op campaign with this, not as a Let's Play, but with a friend, just couch co-op. And that was when this actually went into my PS3. So that's quite a bit of fun there. All right, so we've got Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, which I know, repetition of words there. But this has anime cutscenes made by Studio Ghibli, who is well known for making these really well-produced, beautiful cinematic films as well, that I unfortunately haven't seen at all. But this is a really, really good game. It's also really long, so it's no surprise that I don't think I've gotten more than about 5 hours into it. I got to like the first major town and kind of got lost in there and haven't come back to it since. But I really do need to at some point, especially since I think they're working on a Ni no Kuni 3 right now. What else do we have? Oh, why not? So I have White Knight Chronicles 2. I just picked this up recently. White Knight Chronicles was one of the first games that made me decide to pick up a PS3, and unfortunately I never got around to getting the original copy. And I've been staring at this copy at GameStop for quite a while and eventually just snagged it. Now the cool thing about White Knight Chronicles 2 is that it includes the original White Knight Chronicles as well, because you can actually transfer your character from White Knight Chronicles 1 to 2 and continue that way. But I need to actually pop this into my PS3 to check, because I don't know if that's on the disc or not. I hope it is, because if it was downloadable via a voucher or whatever, I got nothing, because this was a used copy, and I don't even have a manual for this game. So I really hope that's on disc. Maybe somebody can tell me, because it doesn't seem to say on the actual game here. Yeah, it doesn't seem to say on the box whether or not that game is available on the disc or if you had to download it or whatnot. But let's see, I also have Spec Ops: The Line, a really, really good game. It's a bit mediocre in terms of actual gameplay, but the story is really well done and kind of sends up the whole first-person shooter franchise as not quite a parody or a pastiche, but I would definitely say as a satire of the whole first-person shooter genre. Really, really well done in terms of story. It's actually based on... it's kind of a retelling of The Heart of Darkness by... Oh god, I can't even remember his name. I'm not seeing it on here. But the guy who's the villain here in here is the guy who wrote the book Heart of Darkness, which was also what the movie Apocalypse Now was based on as well. So yeah, really good game. I remember playing this at a demo kiosk at PAX East. I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2012. Could be either of them because this actually came out in 2012. So I don't know, but it was really interesting. Let's see what else. There we go. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Yeah, really good. Kind of a mix between a third-person shooter and a hack and slash. A lot of fun. I don't really have too much else to say about that, other than I had originally played this as a downloaded copy through PlayStation Plus. You know, back when they were giving out PS3 games all the time. This was one of them, and I really liked it so much so that I eventually just picked up a physical copy as well to add to my collection. This is Never Dead, and I really don't know too much about this. I remember seeing this in an E3 press conference when it was first announced, and being really intrigued by it, but I never got around to actually playing it. I don't know why, but it's just been sitting on my shelf. This is a Best Buy specific copy, but I didn't actually get it at Best Buy. I picked this up at a used game store some time ago as well. I heard it wasn't that good, but I still want to give it a try at some point. One of the first games I got for my PS3, though, was Mirror's Edge. And I originally played the demo for this on 360, but I picked up the PS3 version because it used the 6-axis control. Like when you're walking on high beams and so on, it actually used the gyroscope in the 6-axis to help you maintain your balance while walking on those. But yeah, this is a first-person free-running game, which is a really odd mix. You wouldn't think it worked that well, considering platforming doesn't really work well in first-person at all. But it works amazing here. It's just a shame that the sequel was more of a soft reboot rather than a full-on, sequel and everything. Here's another Ninja Theory game. I have Heavenly Sword. Yeah, Heavenly Sword. Does anybody remember this? It's kind of a knockoff of God of War in terms of gameplay, but it's not half bad. It's got a pretty weird story too. But this was an early PS3 title as well, I think. Let's see. Yeah, can't talk about this generation of games without including the Batman Arkham trilogy. You have Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, which were both made by Rocksteady, and then you have UB Montreal's Arkham Origins, which a lot of people didn't really like because it reused a lot of assets from Arkham City. People think like Arkham City was the highlight of the franchise, but Arkham Origins wasn't too bad. That's kind of a prequel, so I mean, you could put them on the shelf like that or whatnot. I usually keep it on last though because it did come out third. But yeah, good games. Oh yeah, this is so Arkham Asylum is 3D capable. Except I don't remember if it did stereoscopic 3D or not, but it also did the classic 3D as well with the whole red and blue glasses and everything. So I never even opened these. I've never tried that mode for this. I don't have a 3D TV to see if stereoscopic would work either, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because gaming for me always seemed like that would be the perfect excuse for owning a 3D TV. Sony even put out a PlayStation branded 3D TV. It was only 720p, but they put out a PlayStation branded 3D TV as well. And unfortunately, home 3D technology has kind of fallen by the wayside. You still see 3D movies at theaters where it's passive 3D, but since 3D at home was always active, where you had the glasses with the shutters in them and everything, it just doesn't really work as well. Let's see, we have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. This is the reboot of the Hot Pursuit games by Criterion, who are the people who originally started out doing Burnout. I picked this up not too long ago. I still have yet to actually pop it in, so I don't know too much about this other than it's Need for Speed. Here's another game most people probably don't remember. El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron. This is a really interesting one because it's based on a Judeo-Christian mythology. Like the story is all about Nephilim, who are half angel, half human, and it's basically a combination of stories from the Apocrypha. And they got a lot of different Japanese developers to each like do a different level. So there's a lot of different gameplay styles present in here, but it's still quite a fun game. I should do a let's play of this at some point. But I do also have Drakengard 3. Now, I mentioned Drakengard in the last video I did, but unfortunately I haven't played this yet because I don't have Drakengard 2 and I want to play that first. I don't know if this continues the story or not. It might just be a completely different story, but I kind of want to wait till I play Drakengard 2 for that. There we go. All right. Here's the worst thing to ever happen to Silent Hill. Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD. I actually did Let's Plays of these. The HD versions included here back when it first came out. And it's just not a good collection at all. Definitely, if you have to play it in HD, either find copies of the PC versions or emulate the PS2 versions, because those are still the best versions of the game, even though like Silent Hill 2 on the Xbox includes extra content as well, which is actually included in here as well, Restless Dreams, where you play as Maria. But beyond that, I also have Silent Hill Homecoming, which was the first HD Silent Hill game. It's not that good, honestly. And then Silent Hill Downpour, which was the last Silent Hill game. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't. It's kind of mediocre for survival horror, but I still really enjoyed it when it came out. So I wish they had made Silent Hills. I really do wish they had made Silent Hills. But unfortunately, Konami and Kojima just could not agree. Speaking of Kojima, though, I do have the Zone of the Enders HD collection. I don't know how good this actually is as an HD collection. I've never played the original Zone of the Enders, but this includes Zoe 1 and 2. Basically, Zone of the Enders is the second runner. And I think Zone of the Enders 2 got a port to PS4 as well, because it included a VR mode as well. It's like Mars, Zone of the Enders Mars. But this is another one that kind of ended, I think it ended on a cliffhanger, is what I've heard. And they never got around to making the third one. Konami never let Kojima make the third one, unfortunately. He got stuck making Metal Gear Solid games. Speaking of which, I know I got that in here as well somewhere. Where is that? There it is, way at the bottom here. All right, let me grab that. So I do have Metal Gear Solid 4, which I hate GameStop for because they actually put the sticker on the actual binding of the cover art. You know, so it's like all ruined and everything. Maybe one day I'll get another copy without that on there. But still a pretty good game. I remember a lot of people were kind of confused for a bit that this was exclusive to the PS3 because Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 had appeared on the original Xbox as well. But really this game could only have been done on the Blu-ray of the PS3. Otherwise, had it been on the 360, it would have probably been 7 discs. And I don't know of a single game on the 360 that went more than 4. But I do also have Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which was done in conjunction with Platinum Games. They're the ones who actually developed this alongside Kojima Studios as kind of a spin-off. And I've heard rumors that they're still working on Metal Gear Rising 2, but I don't actually know anything about that. Again, I haven't really spent too much time with this one, unfortunately. But still good games. Metal Gear Solid 4 is the only one in the franchise I've actually properly beaten myself. But back to JRPGs that got a second chance on the PS3. Here's another one, Eternal Sonata. This was a game I was originally looking at to get for the 360 back when I hadn't gotten a 360 or a PS3. And eventually I waited long enough that the PS3 was the better choice to get. I never actually played this though, so I need to give that a shot at some point. Of course, I also have Killzone 2 and Killzone 3, which is PlayStation Move compatible and 3D compatible, but I haven't been able to take advantage of either of those. I did enjoy both of them, though. Killzone 2 probably more than 3. And of course, Killzone 2 had that infamous bullshot cinematic that was shown at E3 that turned out to be a complete lie. But I also have the Jak and Daxter HD collection. I already talked about Jak 1 through 3 in the last video, but at some point I probably will do a Let's Play of Jak 2 and 3. Actually, I might even redo my Let's Play of Jak and Daxter to make it a 100% complete version, because I never did do the 100% complete run of that on the PS3. I did it on the PS2 at one point, though. Let's see. All right. There we go. I have Dead Space, Dead Space 2, the limited edition, which also includes Dead Space Extraction, which was originally a light gun style shooter for the Wii. It's playable here on the PS2. It's compatible with PlayStation Move, and it's also playable with just a controller, which is what I did. And it's still really enjoyable. And then, of course, I have Dead Space 3 as well. My favorite of the games is still probably the original Dead Space, which is straight up survival horror. That's literally what it is, straight up survival horror. Whereas Dead Space 2 took it a little bit more actiony. There's some cool twists about this, like it's playable entirely in co-op, where the second player sees things that the first player doesn't. So you kind of got that whole idea of what's real and what's not. And then Dead Space 3 I felt was a bit of a disappointment because it was a straight up action game. And this also has co-op, but it's not split screen co-op, which really pissed me off because I had a friend who had borrowed Dead Space 1 and 2 from me and played them and really enjoyed them. And we were going to play Dead Space 3 in co-op, and we pop it in and start playing it, and I realized, there's no option yet to boot in a second player. So that kind of really sucked, especially because he didn't even have internet at the time. So if he went out and bought a copy of the game himself, we still wouldn't have been able to play co-op. So that kind of sucked, but still, Dead Space 1 through 3. I also have Demon's Souls, which I ended up having to watch a Let's Play of in order to see the whole thing, because I don't know if it's specific to this copy of my copy of the game or what, because I don't think there's like any issues with my disc. Blu-rays are scratch resistant. There's like something on there, and I'm not missing any data. There's no problems with the label or anything, but the game after like an hour of play would just start chugging and lagging like crazy. And I don't know if that was issues other people had, if like my PS3 just wasn't up to snuff because it was a certain model of PS3 or what, but I ended up having to watch a Let's Play to finish that. But I did eventually get Dark Souls 1 as well, which is the spiritual successor to Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls was exclusive to the PS3, whereas Dark Souls ended up being multi-platform, available on 360 as well as getting ports, remasters on port to PC and remasters on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And I never got too far into it though. These just aren't really my style of game, unfortunately. I don't really like the idea of smashing my head against a brick wall over and over and over again. But I still understand the appeal of it though. These ultra hard games from software. I also have Catherine, and this is the PS3 version because it has Catherine on it. The 360 version has the other Catherine on it. And actually, I got this brand new, and you can see it in the background here. I've got the soundtrack, sound disc and art book, which came with it, kind of bundled together and everything. Still really good to have. This isn't the collector's edition though. That was just like a pre-order bonus, I think. But this was done sort of as a tech demo for what Persona 5 was going to look like. And because this is from the same people that do the Persona series. This isn't a Shin Megami Tensei game. Really odd puzzle game, though. It's like half dating sim, half puzzle game. And it's a lot of fun. Not puzzle game as in like Professor Layton, but more like move the blocks around kind of puzzle game. And it's quite a bit of fun. I'm very much interested in Catherine Full Body, which is supposed to be coming out sometime this year, I think. Let's see. We also have... There we go. So Insomniac, the people who did Spyro on the PS1 and Ratchet & Clank on the PS2, they got a new franchise started on the PS3. We have Resistance Fall of Man, which is a historical alternate history alien invasion shooter where you're fighting off an alien invasion in like the 40s. So it's all like World War II themed-ish, except it's all you're fighting aliens and stuff. And then this one's actually set, you can tell from the logo where each game's set because of the A there. You can see Big Ben right there. So this one's set in England. And then we have the sequel Resistance 2, which is set in San Francisco. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge in that A, as well as in the art as well. And then like 10 years or so later in the series, so it was set in the 50s, you have Resistance 3 in in New York City. And this is really interesting because it has a reversible cover, and I hate the fact that the reversible covers never have the same badging and information on it that the regular covers do, because the reversible covers are like so much better usually, but I like having all that badging on there, at least on the spine, so that everything looks the same when you put it on the shelf. But still really quite fun. And speaking of Insomniac, they did continue the Ratchet and Clank games on the PS3. So they did a Ratchet and Clank collection where it's the original 3 games, Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando, and Up Your Arsenal, all in HD as well. Not necessarily the best conversions, but not terrible either. But then they also had the Future trilogy of games. You had you had Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction, which is really good. You had Ratchet and Clank Future Quest for Booty, which this is actually the PAL copy. I had to import this because there was no physical copy in America of it, because it's really little. It's pretty much a little bit more than a downloadable game. It's really short. It's only like 3 or 4 hours long, but apparently for some reason Europe got a physical copy of this and nobody else did. And then of course there's Ratchet and Clank Future: A Crack in Time, which is probably, in my opinion, the best Ratchet and Clank game ever made. But they didn't end there. Then they started doing weird things, because we got All for One, which is, it's got the pun in it, but it's missing the innuendo that it originally had, where it was going to be called like Ratchet and Clank 4-Play, because this is 4-player co-op, and unfortunately I don't know why they went for All for One instead, but yeah, it's 4-player couch co-op. You can play it online as well, but it's not that good. It's not a good Ratchet game. And then there was Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault, which in Europe I believe is called Q-Force, which is basically a Ratchet and Clank tower defense game. Again, not very good, but this is one of the ones where it had cross-buy as well. Yeah, it includes downloadable version for the PlayStation Vita as well. So I could always download that onto my Vita and play it there if I really wanted to. But then there was also Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus, which was a budget title for some reason. And it also included a digital download for a Quest for Booty. So I think that was probably to add in value, because this was a budget title for some reason. It only cost $40 brand new. But it was also another shorter one as well. It was only like 6 hours long, I think. Whereas most Ratchet games were usually like 10 to 12 hours, I think. But it wasn't a bad one. It was enjoyable. It was just too short. All right, so speaking of Insomniac, which makes me think of Naughty Dog, their rivals, they stopped making Jak and Daxter games after the PS2, and instead on the PS3 they put out Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and this is actually a not for resale copy, because this copy actually came with my PS3. I have the 80 gigabyte Uncharted bundle for PS3, so it's a PS3 FAT system, which is currently under my TV. Eventually I'll get the smaller versions as well, so it'll fit a little bit nicer. But yeah, really good action-adventure game, kind of a send-up to Tomb Raider as well. And as a matter of fact, after Tomb Raider Legend, they kind of started modeling their gameplay a bit after Uncharted. But I also have the best game in the franchise, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and then the third best game in the franchise, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. I've done Let's Plays of all 3 of these. I actually did a Let's Play of Uncharted 3 back when it first came out, but yeah, I did Let's Plays of all 3 of these on hard mode. One of these days I got to go back and do the other games, because there are a couple Let's Plays I'm missing. But still good games. There we go. 2012's Twisted Metal. There we go. So this was a full reboot of the franchise, and unfortunately they haven't made another one since. And this was another one with a reversible cover for some reason, which is odd, because the reversible cover front is the same as the regular cover front. It just is missing the free downloadable game of Twisted Metal Black, which I don't think I could get, because I think that was via a code. I don't think that was on the disc. But then the back here you had Dollface as well, which was a character I think created for Twisted Metal Black, but still quite a bit of a fun game. I played this through this co-op with a friend, and eventually picked up my own copy. All right, starting to run out of PS3 games. There we go. We got The Last of Us. Really good game. PS4 version is better because you have the option of playing it with better graphics, or at 60 frames per second with the original PS3 graphics, which oddly enough, that the remastered version on the PS4, they did that before even the PS4 Pro came out. They started doing stuff like that. So still quite a good game. I wouldn't necessarily say it's fun, but it is very, very enjoyable, and the story is incredibly engaging. Can't wait for the sequel. I also have Little Big Planet 1 and 2. These are both Game of the Year editions, but I picked them up used, so I don't think I ever got the DLC. Not that I really cared about it. These games were odd in that before Mario Maker came out, these were basically like Mario Maker before that, where you could make your own levels and stuff like that. But I ended up playing through the campaigns. They were still enjoyable as well. There we go. We've got the Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD remaster. This is the second copy of the game I had, because I originally got the special edition when it came out because it had a much better cover design, which they later reused for the PS4 version. But whereas the standard edition has just a mismatch of the original box arts from both games. Really, really good, faithful adaptation. I'd much rather play this on PS4 though. But still good adaptation, or a good port of the games. You know, they pretty much had to remake like half the games in order to because they lost like assets and source code and stuff like that. But the reason why I ended up switching from the special edition to the standard edition was because the special edition was weird in that it wasn't a standard PS3 Blu-ray case or anything like that. It came on it came in a case that was taller, because like the case was the art book, and that was the whole special edition portion of it. But beyond that, I also have Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and of course 13-3, which is Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13, which drives me crazy that they went like the whole Dirge of Cerberus naming route, because it drives me crazy because it's 13-3. Okay, why not just call it 13-3? And because do I file it under L for Lightning Returns or F for Final Fantasy? You know, so I usually keep it with the other two. This is the only one I haven't actually played because it's got a time mechanic where you've got a time limit on the game of 7 days, and I think like Majora's Mask, like you can get it reset and so on. But I always hate when they do things like that. But you know, I'm one of those people who actually enjoyed 13 for what it was when it came out. I really enjoyed it. It does pretty much the exact same things 10 did before it. You know, the only reason why people like rag on it so much is because it's not as open as previous Final Fantasy games were. But really, Final Fantasy games were always fairly linear. It's just you can't really it's not disguised as well here, but it's still really, really enjoyable to me. You know, the combat system is all about speed and making sure you have the right jobs for the right time. And then pretty much every issue I had with the first Final Fantasy 13 was fixed in the sequel. And this took a more non-linear route where it's a lot about time travel, kind of like Chrono Trigger. And you can just pop back and forth between different eras and time periods and stuff like that. And it's really, really interesting. And I don't know if it has multiple endings or not, but that was the one that got like a whole bunch of extra DLC as well. And then, like I said, Lightning Returns, third one, I haven't played it, unfortunately. I also have Rockstar Games Presents L.A. Noire. I remember I got this back when it first came out. I don't know if I ever played any of the DLC with it or anything. I have the Game of the Year edition, or the complete edition on Steam, so I got to get back in and play this again. Really, really good. I remember this being really notable at the time because the same like facial motion capture technology they were using in Avatar, the movie, they used in L.A. Noire to capture characters' facial animations directly from the actors portraying them, because this is kind of not necessarily a social deduction game, but this is a detective game where you're reading characters' responses and so on to try to figure out whether or not they're lying or telling the truth and stuff like that. So really, really interesting. I also have Battlefield 3 for the PS3, which up till recently is the only Battlefield game I ever played. I recently started playing Battlefield 4 though, but I don't have that for PS3. Let's see. I have... There we go. I got the PS3 version of Bayonetta, which I've heard is the worst version. But this is the one I picked up and played through first and fell in love with the game and really, really enjoyed it. So still, I don't think it's a bad version. It has some frame rate issues. But I also have Valkyria Chronicles, which is a really, really interesting turn-based tactical game. It kind of fuses turn-based and real-time as well, where the characters take turns, but when you have control over them, you can move around in real time and really is interesting. I got to get back into playing these games though. This got a remaster as well, and the fourth game came out recently, so I need to get around to playing those too. All right, we also have Deus Ex Human Revolution, which is the first Deus Ex game I ever played. Yeah, Deus Ex. Really enjoyed it. Kind of a reboot slash prequel to the original, because the sequel they made, Invisible War, was not well received at all. And then the last games I have are all one franchise. There is a Saga collection that has all of these together, but I don't have that. Instead, I have the separate collections. I have the God of War Origins collection, which includes Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta, the PSP games, remastered in HD. I have the game God of War Ascension, which was the most recent one up until last year's God of War on the PS4, which was a mediocre, was the last one to use the old formula. I have the God of War collection, which is God of War 1 and 2, remastered in HD. Also includes a voucher for the God of War 3 demo from E3 2009. And then I also have God of War 3. Not only do I have God of War 3, but I actually have the Ultimate Edition of it, which includes Pandora's Box and everything. So I remember getting this when it first came out, and I really enjoyed it. I was kind of pissed off, though, because it includes the soundtrack for the trilogy, as well as an album of heavy metal music inspired by God of War. Unfortunately, they're downloadable here in the US. I think Europe got physical copies of those, but unfortunately here in the US they were only downloadable. So that kind of sucked. Back then I was still trying to collect CDs and stuff like that, which I no longer do, but it was good. Anyways, that is it for PS3 games. And now we've got to move on to PS2. May as well start off with one of the first games I ever got. It was a launch title for the PS3, or PS4, which I got on launch day. We have Knack. Not a bad game. Really it isn't. But I also have Knack 2, which is a little bit better as well. These are kind of like God of War style beat-em-ups, but they're still quite a bit of fun. Bit challenging, too. Not bad at all. I don't know why so many people dislike them. Let's see, what else? Oh, of course, I have Horizon Zero Dawn. I also have the DLC pack for this. At some point, I'll probably get the complete version as well, just because I love this game so much. This is from Guerrilla Games. These are the same people that made the Killzone franchise. And really beautiful game. Plays in 4K HDR on a PS4 Pro as well. Really wonderful game where you are hunting robot dinosaurs. I can't say anything more than that. I love this game that much. Let's see. We've got Gravity Rush Remastered, which took forever to find because it was only available on Amazon when it first came out, at least here in America. And this is a remastered version of a PlayStation Vita game that didn't really get a good chance on there. But I do also have the sequel, Gravity Rush 2, which I really need to play one of these days because Gravity Rush 1 ends on a cliffhanger, and I really don't like the way it ended. So I need to play Gravity Rush 2 to figure out what happens. So those are wonderful games as well. Speaking of God of War, not too long ago, I do have the full-on PS4 game, which is really wonderful. This was the first platinum trophy I ever got, was for God of War, and then I went back and finished up the last trophies for Horizon Zero Dawn to get a platinum for that, and those are the only two platinums I have, which that tells you how much I enjoyed these games. Really good games. Let's see. I do have Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which was a launch title for the PS4. This is what I originally played it on. That's what I did my Let's Play on. I have Assassin's Creed Unity, did a Let's Play of this at one point as well. It's not as bad as it used to be. Really, it isn't. It's a much better game now that they've fixed most of the issues. I got Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I got the gold edition of this, which includes includes the game plus season pass for like all the downloadable content. And the reason why I did the gold edition was because I was doing Let's Plays of the Assassin's Creed games at this point, and I wanted to make sure I got all the content that would come out for it. But unfortunately, I took a break from Let's Plays for a while, so I still haven't done a Let's Play of Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know at this point if I'm going to at some point, because this game is really massive. It is too big, I think, to do a proper Let's Play of, at least the way I want to do it. But it's still a really good game. They completely changed up the formula to make it more of an action RPG, as opposed to the standard Assassin's Creed formula that they've pretty much been using since Assassin's Creed 2. And then, if I can find it somewhere in here, I do also have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I haven't gone back to play the DLC for this yet, but I really did enjoy this when it came out. There were some missed opportunities with the storytelling, though, that made me put it down for a little while, but I eventually came back to it and finished the game. Really, really enjoyed it. Let's see. We also have Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. This is the next gen version of Dissidia, which is a Final Fantasy inspired fighting game where it's got like all your favorite Final Fantasy characters. So this one actually has a story mode, but it's weird in the fact that it doesn't go from, it's not like an actual complete campaign. It's you just play multiplayer matches online or offline or whatever, and that gives you points, which you can go spend in the story mode to unlock cutscenes and boss battles and stuff like that. So I did end up not actually beating this myself. Believe it or not, though, this is from Team Ninja, which I found was really weird that they helped with that, but still. Speaking of Final Fantasy, I do, of course, have Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, which I've never actually really played. I really need to at some point, but I got it, honestly, because it included a demo for Final Fantasy 15, so was definitely wanting to play that at some point. I do also have Final Fantasy 15. I don't have the uber expensive collector's edition, but I do have the deluxe edition, which has this really nice steelbook with Amano's artwork on it, and also includes on a separate Blu-ray. It's really weird how they did it here, because you got to pull everything out here to see it, but it includes the Kingsglaive movie on Blu-ray as well as the base game. But this isn't the only copy of Final Fantasy 15 I have, because I also picked up the Royal Edition when that came out, because I hadn't played any of the DLC yet, and I hadn't picked it up. And the Royal Edition included all of the Season Pass content, plus the new Royal Pack, and apparently Episode Arden, which is the final DLC pack, has just recently come out, so I need to play that at some point as well to get the rest of the story. Unfortunately, the second season of DLC for this game was canceled, with only Episode Arden actually coming out, so we don't get to see the actual proper conclusion of the story, but kind of sucks, because this game was amazing to play when it came out, but the story just kind of wasn't there, unfortunately. But still, really, really enjoyable. The game with the story that is there, though, is Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. This is the HD remaster based on the Zodiac International Job System version from Japan. And again, this is in a steelbook. I think there's a standard copy of this in just a regular Blu-ray, blue PS4 case. But nowadays, back when this first came out, I think this was the only version available, and this is since being ported over to Switch and Xbox One, and of course it's on Steam as well now. Really, really good version of this. This is actually the only version I've actually beaten. I wasn't ever able to beat the original game on PS2. And then the final Final Fantasy game I have on PS4 is, I do have the 10-10-2 HD Remaster Collection. This is the standard version of it on PS4, which uses the same art from the special edition on the PS3, and then the special edition on the PS4 has different artwork as well, which I think is a nice touch. But yeah, this is a much better copy of much better cover art as well. And I think this actually, it says it goes up to 1080p, but I think this has since been updated for PS4 Pro, that it might go up to 4K. I'm not entirely sure, though, so don't quote me on that. But this does offer PS4 remote play with the Vita, so you could like put this in your PS4 and then actually play it on the Vita while you're in bed or whatever, if you really wanted to. Speaking of Final Fantasy, though, I do also have the Kingdom Hearts 1.2 or 1.5 plus 2.5 HD Remix Collection, which is basically just the two HD collections from the PS3 on one disc, and then I have the special edition, or limited edition of the 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which includes an HD version of Dream Drop Distance, as well as the brand new game Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a Fragmentary Passage, which was kind of a prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3, and the HD movie Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, which kind of explained what was going on in the mobile game. But this version, the key thing about this version is it includes a pin as well. And actually popping this open, so you can see the actual artwork. Because there's a standard version of this as well that just looks like that. And then there's another collection of Kingdom Hearts games on PS3 that on PS4 that I don't have. It's Kingdom Hearts: The Story So Far. Literally all it is just it's just these two bundled together. It's just the 1.5 plus 2.5 HD collection and 2.8 collections all bundled together onto one disc. That's literally all it is. But of course, I do also have Kingdom Hearts 3. I really, really enjoyed this. It made me cry at the end. It's one of the few games that has actually made me cry. And it's PS4 Pro Enhanced. You know, all the Kingdom Hearts games run in 4K on a PS4 Pro, and it's really, really wonderful. I had a special edition of this on pre-order, but I wasn't going to be able to get the Prime discount on it anymore. They canceled that, and so I ended up just canceling my pre-order. Ended up picking this up at Best Buy the day it came out, since I wasn't going to be able to save money on it for doing it from through Prime. But I do also have Detroit Become Human. I did a Let's Play of this back when it first came out. Really enjoyed it. It's not the best writing in the world, but it still is fairly enjoyable as well. So that's another David Cage game. And there we go. We have DMC Devil May Cry, the definitive edition, which runs in 1080p 60 FPS on the PS4. And includes all the DLC from the original game on the PS3 and the 360. Again, still one of my top rated Devil May Cry games. I really enjoyed this, and it was actually the first one I actually beat. And then I also have the Devil May Cry HD collection. This is what I was using for my Let's Plays of Devil May Cry 2 and 3. Maybe at some point I'll do a Let's Play of, Devil May Cry 1 and 2. Maybe at some point I'll do a Let's Play of Devil May Cry 3, but at this point I have no further plans to continue this series on my channel. However, I do also have, of course, Devil May Cry 5. I just finished this a couple weeks ago, like right after it came out, and I really enjoyed this as well. Really a lot of fun. I would say this is probably my second... actually, no, I would probably say it's my favorite Devil May Cry game now, with DMC being my second favorite. Oh, let's see what else. I have Sonic Forces, not a bad Sonic game, though it is weird that you don't actually get to play as Sonic throughout most of it, but still not a bad game. I have, there we go. I have the Resident Evil 2 remake. I really, really enjoyed this when this came out. I never played the original, but because of the tank controls and everything, but I still really did love this so much that I'm probably going to see if I can't pick up the rest of the franchise available on the PS4 at some point, because I know 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all available on PS4 as physical, and 1 is not, though, unfortunately, so that kind of sucks. But still, yes, I do have Persona 5. I've never really played this. I started playing it once and then turned it off soon after. I don't even remember why. I just remember thinking this is just such a big game. But at this point, I'm probably going to hold out until Persona 5, the Royal Edition, comes out and play that instead. But still, I heard great things about that. I have Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. Now, this is the Gold Edition, but... So it's supposed to be like the game, the season pass, and the deluxe pack. But I bought this used, so I don't actually have the codes to get that kind of stuff. Plus, I may have to get a new copy of this because I think the actual game disc is scratched on the label side, and that means actual complete data loss. I haven't actually popped this in to try it, though, so I don't know if that's going to work. It wasn't too expensive. It was only like 20 bucks, I think. Probably less. So I'll probably pick up another copy at some point and play it that way. But Watch Dogs 1 was enjoyable, and then Watch Dogs 2 was supposed to be a lot better. So I need to play that at some point. Oh, let's see. Okay, we have, of course, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Now, Ground Zeroes, I think I did pick that up. I don't remember if I bought this new or not, but I remember being disappointed that it wasn't really a full game. It was just a little more than a demo, and that was it. And then Phantom Pain, you know, everything that Konami was doing to Kojima at the time, even though this is the day one edition, I didn't pick this up brand new. I ended up waiting to get a used copy of that, because I'm like, I'm not giving Konami my money for that. Not after what they did to Kojima. All right, we also have Tearaway Unfolded, and this is, again, a enhanced port of a Vita game. Really charming, but I found it to be kind of boring a bit. I have the Spyro Reignited trilogy, really enjoyable. Includes Spyro 1, 2, and 3, completely remade from the ground up for PS4. The only thing I don't like about this is the only things on the disc are the entirety of Spyro 1 and select levels from Spyro 2 and 3. You have to actually download the rest of the game content, so it kind of starts to defeat the purpose of a physical copy. And Activision claims it was because they couldn't fit everything on the disc, that it wasn't going to be ready in time, but then they delayed the game, so there was plenty of time for them to do that. It's literally just a cash grab to try to keep people from buying used copies of the game. That's literally the only reason they would have done that. So that's Activision for you. Speaking of other scummy practices, we have Star Wars Battlefront, which is multiplayer only, and Star Wars Battlefront 2, which had a massive loot box controversy when it came out, but does have a single player campaign. So yeah, I got those in my collection now. I bought these used. I think I only spent like $5 for Battlefront and like maybe 10 for Battlefront 2. So not bad, all things considered. I think I only spent about $20 for this, which is about what it's worth. And this is The Order 1886, which is a beautiful game, but really lackluster gameplay. And it's also incredibly short. It's only like 4 or 5 hours long, which most people were probably expecting from this kind of game, something in the 8 to 12 hour mark, somewhere around 10 hours or something like that. And it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, a lot of sequel bait as well, which really sucks because it's probably never going to get a sequel too, because it got panned so hard. So I do also have the Shenmue 1 and 2 HD collection, and I really do need to go back through it and play this at some point as well, because I've never really played Shenmue 2. I never finished Shenmue 1. I ended up watching a Let's Play of it, but I never actually played Shenmue 2, and I need to do this because Shenmue 3 is coming out apparently on my birthday this year, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. I also have the Shadow of the Colossus PS4 remake. I've already talked about this game a couple times, but this is the best version of the game to play it on. It's also PS4 Pro enhanced. I don't know if that means it's HDR or if it runs in 4K. I honestly don't remember. I think it's HDR, but it's still really good version of the game. Really beautiful. I also have Wipeout Omega Collection, which ended up getting water damage, unfortunately, for the cover, because I bought this new and that shouldn't be as wavy as it is. This game apparently has VR support now, so one of these days I need to actually get PlayStation VR and try that out, because I really do love this game. This bundles Wipeout HD from the PS3, which was download only, along with its expansion, Wipeout Fury, alongside the Vita game, Wipeout 2048, which previously the only way you could play the Vita game was on the Vita, because you couldn't play it on the PlayStation TV because it required the touchscreen for level selection and stuff like that. So really good to be able to play this on PS4. And this is PS4 Pro enhanced as well, and because it runs at I want to say it's 4K 60 FPS. So definitely give that a try. I do also have Destiny. I don't have the any of the expansions for this. I played this after it first came out and got through the main story, and then I haven't touched it since, unfortunately. But I do have Destiny. I also have Destiny 2 on PC, but it's download only, because they actually gave it away for free via Battle.net last year. And I also have Ni no Kuni 2, which I haven't played yet. This is the Day 1 edition and includes DLC for a special sword set. I don't know if the code would actually work because I got this used, so chances are it wouldn't, but I could probably try it and at least see. But yeah, I haven't finished Ni no Kuni 1 yet, so I don't even want to try Ni no Kuni 2. I have Until Dawn, which is kind of a David Cage style game. It's kind of a mix of survival horror with David Cage to give you kind of like almost like a point and click feel, where you choose outcomes for characters, and it really is like a teen slasher film, and it's a lot of fun, really a lot of fun. This isn't from David Cage though. This is from Supermassive Games, so definitely a good game. Definitely check that out. I also have Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which is a reboot slash sequel to the original Mirror's Edge. Kind of really just treads over the same water story-wise, but it takes the Mirror's Edge format of first-person free-running and translates it into open world. It was a lot of fun. It kind of got overlooked by a lot of people, I think, because there were some odd choices, such as locking some of your key free-running abilities behind upgrades. And that was an odd choice to me, but still a lot of fun. I do also have The Last of Us Remastered, which includes a 1080p 60 FPS mode, as well as a better graphics mode. It also includes the Left Behind DLC, which I never played on the PS3. I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel. I really, really hope that Sony is able to get The Last of Us, or Naughty Dog is able to get The Last of Us Part 2 out on the PS4 rather than pushing it to the PS5, which is rumored to be announced at the least sometime this year. So we'll see about that. I also have Dark Souls Remastered. Again, I haven't put too much time into this. I picked this up with the intent of giving it another try, especially since it includes all of the original DLC from the game as well. But I haven't been able to get too far into it. At some point I will. I have Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which I really, really enjoyed. Did a Let's Play of that when it first came out. And I also have Uncharted The Lost Legacy, which is the first Uncharted game not to feature Nathan Drake as the protagonist. And I really enjoyed that too. It's a bit short though, but I need to do a Let's Play of that at some point. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. I've got Murdered Soul Suspect, which is a really interesting game that kind of passed a lot of people by. You play as a private detective who has to solve his own murder, basically. And it's really kind of cool about that. It takes place, I want to say, yeah, it takes place in Salem, Massachusetts. So there's a lot of like supernatural stuff going on in it too. Paranormal and stuff like that. I also have Infamous Second Son. And yes, this is the limited edition, but I picked this up used. So I don't really think I have any of the limited edition features or anything like that. But still, a lot of fun game. It was really interesting to see how they would continue the Infamous series on after the ending of Infamous 2. So really, really enjoyed that. It's also PS4 Pro Enhanced nowadays too, where I don't know if it plays at a higher resolution or not, but I think it does HDR. And this is a beautiful game. Definitely worth checking out HDR for. So I have Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, and I haven't really given this much time, unfortunately. At this point, I probably won't because they announced an enhanced version for the Switch, which kind of sucks because this is another PS4 Pro enhanced title. So I think it has HDR. I think it plays at better than 1080p. And unfortunately, you're not going to find those features on the Switch. The main selling point of the Switch is be able to take it on the go. And at max is 1080p on the TV. So unfortunately, it's not going to look as good as the PS4 version, but still it's supposed to be a pretty good classic JRPG style game. Along with Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness, this is the 5th Star Ocean game. This actually got mediocre reviews when it first came out. And I picked this up alongside Star Ocean The Last Hope just so that I had a copy of every game in the franchise on one platform or another. So I need to give this a try at some point. I do also have Killzone Shadowfall. This is the 4th Killzone game. This was a launch title for the PS4 as well, and I got this when my PS4 first came out. I enjoyed this. I played through the campaign for this. I enjoyed it. Played the multiplayer for a little bit too before, I gave up on it. I'm not really much of a multiplayer guy anyways. I also have Monster Hunter World. This is my first ever Monster Hunter game that I ever played. And PlayStation exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn content as well. I don't think I ever unlocked that, but I never got too far into this game. It's just not really my style of game, unfortunately. And then we also have Ratchet & Clank, the game based on the movie, based on the game. So this is a remake of the original PS2 game, not an HD remaster. This is a full-on remake, but it's based on the movie, which was a retelling of that original game story as well. And it's enjoyable. I don't think it's as good as the original, but it's still a pretty fun game. Unfortunately, this is likely the last Ratchet & Clank game we will ever get, but that's the way of it. Oh, and this was really hard to find too for some reason. Like nobody knew this was coming out when it dropped because it was a tie-in with the movie and dropped like soon after the movie, or it may have been delayed for something. Plus, it was a budget title for $40, so I ended up having to search around for a while to actually pick it to pick it up. And then the last game I have for the PS4 was long awaited. It was originally announced for the PS3. It was one of the games I had originally gotten my PS3 for before it was delayed and sort of canceled, but not canceled, and eventually came out on the PS4, and that is The Last Guardian. Really, really enjoyable game. This is another one that was updated to be play PS4 Pro Enhanced, I think with an HDR mode. So definitely need to give this another shot just to see how much better it looks. But really, really enjoyable. Anyways, that is it for my Sony console games. Next up for the tomorrow will be my Sony handheld games. That's going to be a bit of a shorter video, which is probably a good thing because this is my longest video yet. It's over an hour. So I hope you've sat through it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe.